Thank you, Andrea, and thanks to all of you here today. As Andrea said, my name's Alejandro Moreno. That was a very long title. What it basically means is I am the Senior Career Officer in the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy, or EERE. I'll try to stay away from acronyms, but I'll use that one. For those who don't know, EERE is one of DOE's applied energy offices. It means we're one of the R&D shops. If you're wondering who let an R&D guy into a deployment conference, really what I'm here to talk about today, and the Earthshots, as Andrea mentioned, but really how all of DOE is coming together and working in alignment, particularly with a number of the new offices that you heard Julia talk about earlier today, to make sure that we are connecting the full range from basic science all the way through commercialization and widespread deployment for all the technologies that we need to see in order to meet our national goals, our climate goals. EERE is the office. We're one of a few. We have a nuclear office, a fossil energy and carbon management office, electricity office. EERE is the home of most of the technologies that have been leaders in clean energy. Not all of them, of course, but renewable energy, renewable generation, all of our transportation technologies, both light duty, heavy duty vehicles, maritime, hydrogen, bioenergy as well, buildings technologies, industrial technologies, and manufacturing technologies, so quite a lot. And needless to say, we've seen pretty transformational successes since I started at DOE, been there off and on, but I started in 2006 when we were just pushing 1 gigawatt of wind and solar was sort of the eternal technology of tomorrow. Things have changed a lot, but we still have a tremendous amount of work to do. That's why we're all here. And really in two different ways. One, just recognizing that even just getting to commercialization or cost competitiveness isn't enough. That's not the same thing as reaching widespread adoption at the scale we need to see. That's really the focus of this conference, whether it's supply chain, financing, markets, and policies. We all know some of the barriers there. The other big reason is many of the technologies that we need to succeed in order to truly decarbonize our economy, they haven't been proven to be cost competitive at scale yet. That's a lot of the technologies that you saw in that lower left-hand corner of the Mentimeter that are still there, and I'll talk about a couple of those. And the good news is, as Julia said, DOE has more resources than we've ever had before. New offices focused on demonstration, focused on manufacturing and supply chain, like Julia's, revitalized offices like the Loan Programs Office. All of us really need to be able to work together and make sure that we are focused on really clear outcomes, goals, and that we are coordinated in our efforts. And that's really where the Earthshots come in. The Energy Earthshots, the concept of this, they were launched in 2021. The idea was to look at the most challenging technical barriers that we were facing as a country today in our decarbonization plan. And to work in concert to both create really clear, unified targets and goals that the entire department could work towards, and to coordinate our approach towards those goals and the work in a wide range of different offices. And when I say the work in offices, I want to be very clear. Part of that is R&D. A lot of that is the funding that goes towards organizations and the private sector who are doing work in the technologies that those offices cover. Earthshots was based on the Sunshot. How many people here have heard of the Sunshot? Raise your hand. Pretty good amount. That was a program that was launched in 2011 out of EERE with a goal of reducing the cost of solar PV by 75%. It worked. It actually achieved the goal 3 years early through a variety of factors. I don't want to say R&D was the only one, but it certainly was a big part of it. And what the secretary asked us when she came in a couple of years ago was to say, what are some of the other challenges like that? Some of the things that are hard, but must happen in order for us to reach our decarbonization goals. And these are very clearly not low bars. They're really meant to identify the areas that will take the most effort and to prioritize, to make sure that we're devoting the resources and the coordination to drive them. And 7 Earthshots have been announced. The first one was hydrogen, and carbon capture, long duration energy storage, floating offshore wind, enhanced geothermal, industrial heat, and clean fuels and products. And you'll see there's quite a strong correlation between those and the industries that we just had on that Mentimeter, and particularly those that really are clearly sort of what we call hard to decarbonize. Together, these efforts really represent a massive economy-wide commitment to tackling climate change on behalf of the administration and behalf of DOE, while driving and ensuring that U.S. continues to be the leader in new technologies and innovation, and we deliver on the jobs promise of the clean energy transition. I will say an independent analysis by Third Way of the first 6 of those 7 Earthshots found that if all 6 goals are achieved between now and 2050, Americans could save over $850 billion in energy costs and avoid over 3,900 million metric tons of CO2 emissions. So what does this mean? It's one thing for somebody from DOE to come up and say, hey, we're all coordinating and we're all working well together, but what does that really mean in practice? And I want to give a couple examples. I'm going to talk about hydrogen, and I'm going to talk about industrial heat. For hydrogen, the first of the energy Earthshots, the goal was to aim to get us to $1 per 1 kilogram in 1 decade, so by 2031. That is a really ambitious target for clean hydrogen. And it's really only going to be possible if we make progress in a number of different pathways at once. Electrolysis. We need to reduce capital costs of integrated electrolyzer systems, optimize the integration of electrolyzer systems with renewables, with nuclear. Thermal conversion. We need to improve the performance and cost of integrated systems. We need to develop new options, such as gasification of waste feedstocks, pyrolysis of natural gas. And we need to look at other pathways as well, things like microbial processes and systems to produce hydrogen from diverse bio feedstocks, for example. Each one of those requires multiple different offices within DOE and the companies that those offices support. Office of Science, for example, supports advanced R&D and novel catalysts and electrolysis pathways. EERE, my office, focuses on renewable technologies, of course, does most of the electrolysis work, although not all of it, as well as advanced water splitting, some thermochemical and photoelectrochemical work. Our fossil office, Fossil Energy and Carbon Management, focuses on natural gas and solid wastes with gasification technologies, reforming, pyrolysis. And of course, our nuclear office focuses on nuclear and electrolysis systems for nuclear and the integration with advanced reactors. All of these are necessary. All of these need to work together. And then on top of it, we now can leverage the new manufacturing and recycling R&D from the bipartisan infrastructure law, 2 new loan guarantee programs totaling $1.5 billion on pyrolysis and large-scale electrolysis, and the big kahuna, the $8 billion hydrogen hubs program in the Office of Clean Energy Demonstrations, which really is drawing in expertise from across all of DOE, but will establish 6 to 10 regional clean hydrogen hubs across the country. This is a lot of work. All of it needs to happen, but all of it needs to be coordinated very clearly and make sure that each part of DOE is working closely, but working in a coordinated way with all of you. I'm sure many of you have had the experience of sort of bouncing around different offices in DOE. I hope you haven't, but many people have. And it's really on us to come together and provide a unified front for the private sector and for our partners and make sure that the work we do really clearly progresses from one stage to the next. Other example I'll talk about is industrial heat. We have our industrial heat Earthshot sets a target of industrial heat decarbonization technologies with at least 85% reduced greenhouse gas emissions by 2035. This is a really big deal. 11% of emissions in our country come from industrial heat right now, and there are very few ways to get the heat that you need in a low emissions way. And so the Earthshot has brought, again, together all parts of the department around 3 broad approaches, 3 pathways. The first is expanding the use of electricity, expanding where we can use electricity for industrial processes, things like resistive heating, heat pumps, microwave heating. The second is developing new low-carbon ways to achieve the heat that you need, as well as reducing the costs of CCUS and thermal storage. This includes solar thermal, nuclear, geothermal, hydrogen. And then the third is finding new approaches that avoid the need for heat altogether. And as you can imagine, because industrial decarbonization is not a technology, it's an end use that could benefit from technologies across the entire department, whether, again, it's concentrating solar or nuclear, CCUS. What we need is a program that, and what we developed was a program to pull together all of the different offices across DOE, and again, all of the different funding opportunities that those offices have in RD, D&D under one umbrella and one clearly coordinated managed program towards that 85% reduction goal. And the result is a framework that does just this, that starts again with the Office of Science on basic research, focuses on biological and chemical research, reducing equipment costs, reducing the costs of controls, developing new materials, and then moving up to the demonstration of integrated systems with our Office of Clean Energy Development, demonstration, excuse me, and our Loan Program Office as well. You can actually be, if you're interested in this, want to give everyone a heads up that there will be a workshop on October 23rd from noon to 4:30 Eastern Time for the Industrial Heat Shot Summit, which will give, it's a virtual event, everybody can join online, but be a chance to provide input into the research agenda and the work across all of those offices in one place. So again, that's another example of what the Earthshots are doing. Instead of having 15 different webinars that you would go to, one for each office, we're bringing together all of DOE in one place that you can provide input and hear from all of us about the work that's going on and the funding opportunities. So I'll close by saying that, clearly bringing together these efforts in a coordinated way. For anybody who has worked in government or any sort of large bureaucracy, you realize it doesn't happen automatically. The paraphrase of Jigger's quote, "This is hard," applies just as much to some of the institutional silo breaking in DOE as it does to the technology research as well. But DOE has made progress in ways that I, in my nearly 20 years here, have never seen before, very frankly. The way we are working across the department and the way we are engaging with partners across different technologies in a coordinated way. It needs to happen more, but this is one of the steps in really making sure DOE is effective as possible in reaching the 2050 goals. Last thing I would say is, of course, DOE is only one small part of the picture. Really, the people who are doing the work on the ground, whether it's financing it, building the technologies, developing the projects, that's all of you. It's really you that are carrying this baton. It is enabled by government, as you hear us to say, as well as by others. But it's critical that we are providing the support that you all need. Part of the reason I'm here today is also to be able to meet people, talk to people. All of us at DOE want to hear from you. We want to understand what we're doing is effective, what we should be doing more of, where are some of the areas that we can continue to support you more effectively. So I'm here most of the day. Look forward to meeting many of you, and thank you very much for the time.